Hello everyone, this is Udita here on behalf of Team YLCC. Today we have with us our mentee Miheer. He had approached us for a one-on-one mentorship. So let us hear directly from Miheer about his journey. Hello Miheer, how would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you so much for that warm reception, Udita. I think I have been a part of almost every session conducted by YLCC, and I've always been a part of the audience. It just feels very nice to be on the other side this time, delivering something. Uh, so yes, hello everyone. My name is Miheer, and I am a final year law student at NMIMS School of Law, Mumbai. Uh, my practice areas in terms of my interest have been predominantly M&A, private equity, Jain advisory, and I was born and brought up in Varanasi, which is a town in Uttar Pradesh. And for the past 5 years, I've been residing in Maharashtra because in Mumbai specifically because my college is there. So that's pretty much about me.
All right, Miheer. So yeah, first of all, congratulations for receiving two P-placement offers from like the best law firms in India. So yeah, we would like to know your experience and also, how you prepared for, the strategized to secure this PPO.
All right, thank you so much. It really means a lot. I think the journey has been really tough. In terms of my strategy, I still remember all those sleepless nights that just like everyone else, I have gone through because of my constant internships and managing college at the same time. So my strategy from day one, I think up until third year, was to figure out my practice area. By the end of my first semester of my third year, I had some clarity, okay, in which direction would I like to move. And I just chose the elimination role. And I decided that since it was the COVID period and we were allowed to work remotely, therefore I just decided that I'm not going to leave out a single month. I interned every month, uh, and at the same time managed college. I did internships in every area of law, be it TMT practice, be it your tax practice, or capital markets, insolvency and bankruptcy, general corporate advisory, M&A, private equity. And later on, by the end of my third year, second semester, I had very solid clarity that I would like to proceed in terms of M&A and private equity and general corporate advisory. And that is what I did. Uh, Now, apart from the fact that yes, internships played a very major role in deciding that yes, I would like to pursue M&A. Apart from that, I think what really helped for me was my publications, because I almost wrote an article every week, or let's say I tried to write an article, at least two articles per month. That actually gave me a sense of understanding of various laws. Because when you're working on any proposition in any internship, the problem is that you are restricted to a very narrow aspect of law, and therefore your understanding gets limited. So until and unless, in my opinion, you are reading a particular proposition thoroughly in and out, without having to answer any specific proposition, that is how you can gauge whether you are liking that law or not. So I think publications help me out. One major strategy that I think worked out for me was that I chalked out my internships for every semester in the beginning of the semester. And since I am from a non-NLU, I'm from NMIMS, um, since my college is relatively newer, I had to secure internship by myself. And that was a very major task. So it usually took 5 to 6 months to secure an internship, or even in year for a few law firms that I worked with. It has taken me almost 9, 10 months to secure an internship with them. So chalking out my internships beforehand worked out pretty well in my favor.
I can see, Mihi, you have really strategized your time, like,
Thank you.
deciding like initial years what you should do. And then, that perseverance and patience is always required, because waiting
Yeah.
8, 9 months, following up
Yeah.
the HRs for all those things.
Yes.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mihi. So next we would want to know like what influenced you to, approach YLCC for one-on-one mentorship.
Okay, so I have always been connected with Samanika Ma, and when she was associated with LawCo, I have been a student of LawCo for quite some time, for almost 3 years now, I believe. And when she was heading the placement cell there, I have had interactions with her, and I just believed in her, and I just thought that any direction that she is giving to me, that is just going to help me out. And I think her gut call is also something that I usually rely upon. So I think that was the major reason because of which I reached out to YLCC. Second was that when this venture was created, I have been following the venture quite often. And what I realized was that, for example, a lot of interviews just like this one have already been conducted by the team, correct? Now, when I attended those sessions, I just realized that attending all of these sessions make a lot of difference, because when you are going to appear for an interview 1 year down the line, the preparation starts from today. It cannot be that you start 1 week back or 1 month back and you think that you're going to nail that interview. Because to be very honest, what I've realized through multiple interviews, I have not given just Khaitan or NDA's interviews. I've given multiple interviews. In some I have excelled, in some I have failed, to be very honest. So the pattern that I've realized is that internship interviews or job interviews are very unpredictable. You just don't know what's going to happen. So I think attending all of the sessions and my confidence and belief in Samanika ma'am essentially played out a major role in me wanting to approach YLCC.
All right, Miheer. So yes, that is correct. Appearing before those interviews, it gives you different set of confidence.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Like, it matters at that point if you fail. That is true. But then later on, there will be something you have learned from it.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, me. So, I think our audience would be more curious to know, like, what were the key takeaways from the one-on-one mentorship, and if you could share your results with our audience.
Yes, I think the result is right in front of you. The best thing about those sessions were, first is that you could understand, the team could gauge about my strength and my weaknesses at the same time. Strength I need to retain, weakness I need to work upon. Now, weakness, what I realized was that in those one-on-one sessions, because those sessions were so customized and so personalized for me, it essentially resulted into understanding what my weaknesses are, and at the same time build up a roadmap and a plan of action as to how I'm going to be dealing with them. So as I said, that I have done a lot of publications in my law school, but at a certain point in time I did not have them. So that was a major weakness or a loophole or a void in my profile. But through these one-on-one sessions, I realized, no, this is something that I have to do because it has major impact on recruiters or the other 100 advantages that publications have. So I started doing that. Or second, maybe with as small as soft skills. I'm communicating with you right now, which I have also done with a lot of recruiters, correct? Now, at a certain point in time, maybe the soft skills were not appropriate. So understanding that is a major standpoint, because as I said earlier, my interaction with the team or Samanika ma'am has not been limited to just the time of YLCC, but it goes way before. So since she understood me as a person, she was in a position to guide me. And I think a very major support that I had from the team was that the team was available 24/7. There have been multiple complicated situations that I have faced in internships or maybe in terms of hiring processes, and because of which I have needed direction. And even if it is, let's say, at 9:30 or 10 p.m. in the night, I have texted Samanika ma'am and reached out to her that I need something. This is the issue that I'm facing, what to do, how to go about it. And she has helped me out. So I think that was something that made me connect with her, bond with her, and at the same time get a very foolproof or solid and concrete solution to the problem that I was facing. So all of these combined, what I can say from my end is that my relationship or the kind of support that I have received from the team of YLCC including but not limited to Samanika ma'am, has been very exponential, at least in securing these offers at two different law firms. Yeah, so that's pretty much about it.
We are glad about it, Miheer, that we were of some help to you in this journey of yours.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's move on to that, since we already know the results part. So so we would really want to know about your interview experience both at NDA as well as Khaitan.
All right. So since both at NDA and Khaitan I have worked at. So with NDA, I undertook 2 different internships, and at Khaitan, it was just 1 internship that I did with them. So far as my interview is concerned, I think since both the law firms had an intention to hire basis my work, I believe I had a little unconventional interview. They did not rely upon my CV.
Mm-hmm.
CV is something that one should know in and out, because I have been grilled in various interviews basis my CV, and there have been follow-ups on just one question, one aspect of law, multiple times. So CV is something that you should know in and out. But so far as my NDA and Khaitan interview experience is concerned, I did not get a lot of CV-based questions. What I got was questions based on my practice area. Questions like, what is the difference between share purchase agreement and share subscription agreement? And just not the difference, later on the follow-ups were also built on what I was conveying to them. So what I understood was that they're more interested in my thought process, because as everyone says, Companies Act and Indian Contract Act are the fundamental Bible for any corporate lawyer, correct? They just want to know whether you're thinking right or wrong. There may be a different answer altogether, but or a better or correct answer altogether. But if you're thinking right, it's all good and well. I was asked questions or like, just pick up a topic that you have read and explain it in detail as much as possible.
Right.
Explain minority squeeze out. So things that are not even mentioned on my CV, I was asked those questions, and I was expected to answer those questions basis the fact that I have interned so much in M&A, I've written so much in M&A, so I'm expected that okay, I know at least basics of everything in M&A. So that is something that I witnessed in both the interview experiences. One more thing that I would like to add is that, as I said earlier, that there was an intention to hire. So more than my technical knowledge, they were interested in understanding me as a person. They wanted to gauge, especially NDA, because NDA is a very culture-driven firm. And it's a very unique firm, unlike the other law firms that we have in the country. So I had 2 different sets of interviews with NDA, and what I realized was they wanted to understand me as a person. They wanted to know whether I'm the right fit for them or not. And there are a lot of soft skills, I think, that a person needs to have in order to crack these interviews, especially at NDA. And the very first is your communication skill has to be perfect. As in, you don't need to throw legal jargons across, but what you need to do is what you're thinking, that has to be communicated in the same way. If you're thinking X, you should not end up conveying Y. That is something that I realized. And second is, humility goes long way. So even if I didn't know the answer, I did not try to beat around the bush and tell them that, yes, I know the answer and I'm going to tell it to you. If I didn't know it, I just said, I'll have to get back to you on that. I have a very little recollection of it. And that is something that was very appreciated in one of the interviews. So that's pretty much about it. I think whenever it comes to any corporate law interview, just be very thorough with Companies Act and your Indian Contract Act. Apart from that, any question that you do not know, that is not going to make your case or break your case when it comes to determination of your prospect. So that's my view on it.
Sometimes I feel that in interviews, they are not really into your technical knowledge. They are more of knowing your perspective. How are you able to build your own perspective?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because see, legal opinion is something you might agree on something and I might disagree on it.
Yeah.
So that is one thing they are usually looking for, like whether you have your own perspective or not.
Yeah. if I may,
Yeah.
so I remember this question. I was asked this question in one of the interviews, and that was, uh, what do you think is the importance of data?
All right.
That's not a law related topic at all. It's a topic around which the entire society is revolving today. But as small as why is data important? They just wanted to know my thinking.
Yeah, because
So
this
yeah,
is something which is trending, like
yeah,
all over the world, be it Facebook,
uh,
Microsoft, everyone is facing this issue. So,
exactly.
so
Huh,
yeah. So I guess, being up to date,
exactly.
being this in this profession, we need to be up to date. What is
Huh,
happening around you, and have this
absolutely.
thought process. Build your own thought process.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
All right, Miheer. So yeah, moving on to our last question, which is definitely for our audience. Like, any advice you would give to our audience members, like how to go about this entire process? And
Yes. So one is, I'll start off with one thing, and that is, if I may be so bold about it, never consider yourself as an intern. At least that is what I did in the last 1 year of my internships.
all
Uh,
right,
because when you're an intern, you don't take ownership of work. You don't realize what is on stake, and that eventually goes against you. So I'll tell you something. At Khaitan, uh, I was already communicated that there is no vacancy, there is no hiring process that can be done now.
all right,
Because yes, we are very late for 2023, but everything has been done. People have been hired for my batch, so I got late. But then I just undertook the internship to have a meaningful and a learning experience because I did not want to sit idle. So I took it, and then uh, there were days when we had to stay at the office up till very late, even up till 5 in the morning. That was voluntarily. Nobody asked me to do it. I pressured them to make me stay in the office and help them and assist them. And because we had to send out something to the client, and 2 days straight, I had to stay in the office up till 5 a.m. in the morning. Everybody was asking me to leave, but I didn't leave because there were principal associates, there were senior associates who stayed back in the office. One is that. Second, I believe that I did not submit any extraordinary assignment at Khaitan. Any proposition that I got, I don't think that I did a very extraordinary job in preparing a legal opinion or drafting any report for them. But even then, they made me an offer, and believe the reason was, first, the proactiveness to work. I took ownership of the work and understood what is at stake, and stayed up in the morning. My team had around 35 people. Everyone knew that there is an intern who had stayed so late, so that helped out majorly. Second thing that I would like to suggest to all of my peers is that self-reading is very important, and that is what majorly helped me at KCO. uh, the first factor was proactiveness. The second factor was my presentation. So whenever you're working at all of these firms, usually there is an exit presentation that an intern has to prepare. Now, in that exit presentation, you may just go and present it as a regular college viva that you do. But in my presentation, it went on for about 45 minutes, 1 hour. And the question, more than a presentation, it just became a discussion after a point in time. And the topic that I had chosen and the question that I was receiving, not necessarily every question was on my palette. I did not have them. I did not have the questions in my or the answer to the questions in my PPT itself. But then, since I had read on the subject earlier and I had the general basic understanding of how companies that works, I was able to answer or navigate them through some direction. So that is something that really helped me out. So self-reading is something that I'm going to suggest to all of my friends or to everyone. It is taken very lightly and it is very underestimated currently. I believe internship, moot court competitions, debate, everything comes last. First and the foremost in this fraternity is your self-reading and your understanding of law. If that is not there, then nobody cares whether you have done 100 internship experiences or you have interned at places like Trilegal, Khaitan, EZB. It really doesn't matter. Your conceptual understanding has to be on point. Uh, and one more thing that I would like to say is, as everybody says, publications. So I did not do a lot of moot court competitions. That is one void in my CV which I did not get to fill because I had scarcity of time because of internship experiences and my college. So one thing I was able to compensate the other voids in my CV with was my publications. So I just, as I told you earlier, I just tried and attempted to write as many articles as possible, not to gauge another notch in under my belt or for my CV. It was just because I wanted to read on that topic and I wanted to write an article on it so that my understanding could get very concrete. And to be very honest, in the past 2 years, after having written numerous articles, every single article, or at least 80% of my publications, have held me in my interviews, have held me in solving different legal propositions at different law firms. Because at law firms, more than you wanting to solve the problem, it is very difficult for us as fourth year, fifth year law students to even understand the problem. But when a problem is being explained to you, any legal proposition is being explained to you, when you understand the basics behind that law that is being explained to you, it is going to be easy for you to gauge with the problem. And once you gauge with the problem, then only you will be able to come up with a solution. And for you to come up with a solution, you need to know where to look. So all of that is just going to work if you have the right conceptual understanding and theoretical knowledge, which is very important in the legal industry. So I think these are the few of my 2 cents that I can give right now. I'm still very in my final year.
That's very useful, Miheer. And yes, even I believe that knowledge can never go to waste. Whatever you have learned today, maybe it's not useful for you today, but it will be useful for you sometime in future.
Absolutely.
So this is my funda as well. Knowledge is something, it's going to be with you forever.
100%. Absolutely.
All right, Miheer, that was great talking to you. Thank you for your time and your feedback. All the very best for your future, and congratulations for all your offers. And wishing a very bright future ahead.
Thank you so much, Adita. I would like to thank the other team members also for taking up the effort and managing to speak with me. I think it has been a wonderful pleasure for me. As I said earlier, I have been a part of the other side. Being a part of this side and being able to deliver something on this is something that every law student would want to do, right? So I think it is like, yes, an aim that has been converted, a dream that has come true. So it has went really well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miheer. Your success is our happiness in the end.
Yeah.